What is going on, everybody? Episode 108 of many here on the Grizzly Life Podcast. We got Colton Burt here, your host. If this is your first time listening, I recommend going back and listening to episodes 1 through 4. That will give you a little bit of a background on who I am and how we started. For those of you who do listen, I am working on recreating episodes 1 through 4 and bringing the story, not full circle, but bringing the story in its entirety in one episode, bringing it up again and kind of getting to current present day with what is now our bar and restaurant. So I've got a couple little points to talk to you about today. I'm doing a walk and talk. It's a nice day here, Monday afternoon. I don't know, in the 60s already outside, but I'm just going to do a little walk and talk. So if I feel like I'm out of breath, I don't think I am. I'm just trying to walk and talk and think and do all of it. And maybe I am walking up a hill when maybe I sound out of breath. So anyways, I've got a couple interesting topics. Actually, right before I started recording here, I called Ellie, our project manager. She's been around, basically since day one of the inception of Grizzly Fitness and all of in Priority Athlete and Priority Fitness and all of the businesses. So I said, hey, what should I talk about today in the podcast? Because I feel like I want to produce good quality content for you guys, and I want to, let you guys know what's happening and also give you guys some good takeaways to think about for your, day to day. So the first topic is, I'm going to relate this back to us, and I think there's ways that you guys can relate it back to you as well. But the first topic is like balance, and we've got so many projects going on. We've got so many businesses, so many moving parts. And, a question that I get asked all the time is like, how do you keep it all together? Like, how do you do all of that, right? Like, how do you, that seems like a lot, right? That's like the common from the outside. That's what, it is. And it is a lot. There are a lot of moving parts. We do have several gym locations, and we've got Priority Fitness, and we've got the bar and restaurant now. And then on top of that, we have some like back-end projects and businesses that we're always working on that we don't really talk about publicly, but just some things we're working on and different connections and, all that kind of stuff, right? So there is a lot of things going on. So the question is like, how do we keep it together? How do we balance it? And I mean, it really comes down to what I always tell you is people. Like me as a leader, I like building other leaders. I like instilling confidence in others to make decisions as if they were the business owner, right? I want them to have the confidence in their decision to keep the business moving in the right direction, moving forward, right? If there was an issue with the decision they made, and of course that I find out about it, right? It would be a big enough issue that I would find out about it. It would just be a conversation. It would say, hey, I wouldn't have done it. I would have done it like this, and this is why, and that's that, right? So we take decision that happened, and we kind of coach on it, we move on, and we continue instilling that, ownership mentality in our team. Now, the other thing is having good people and people you can trust and people who are there and they can believe in the vision, they can see the direction there. There's a reason why, right? Like I always tell you guys, you need to have a why. You need to know, like even when it comes down to your fitness goals, there has to be a why. There has to be a reason why we're doing something. Otherwise, it's hard for us to stay motivated and even want to do anything at all, right? There's not many things we do without knowing what we're hoping for to happen, right? If that makes sense. So having a why in every aspect of your life is very important. It's something I talk about all the time. You need to have a why when it comes to fitness. It was easy when you were in high school and you're playing for sports or whatever, and you wanted to be the best athlete you could be, or you're part of a team. But now, as we get older and we're out of sports and we don't necessarily have like a reason to work out, we need a strong why. For me, that why is being able to take care of yourself when you're old and play with your grandkids and go shopping and, again, be able to take care of yourself and not have other people take care of you, right? So that is my why. And that's why I always talk about when you're 70, when you're 80, when you're, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, we're doing what we are doing today for the future self, right? For the future version. So, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's all working together. So how do we balance everything? How do we handle everything? And I would like to say we are not experts at this. When we bring on something new, often something else is failing, or not failing, but something else is falling as far as how much attention we were putting on it, right? One thing we always talk about is work-life balance. How do we balance work and life? How do we have personal relationships and also care enough about work and also, move up the chain or whatever? This is kind of how I'm trying to relate this back. So you need to have people you can rely on. And you also can't be so selfish or so, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but you always have that mentality of, I should have just done it myself. I could have done it better, right? Like, there's not a million of you. There's one of you, and you are unique. But when we pass down things, when I give some of my tasks to other people, when we continue growing and building in that direction, what happens is they say, when you put somebody in place of, like, for example, as a business owner, when I hire somebody to do what I'm doing for X, Y, and Z task, I'm assuming that they'll only be able to do about 70 to 80%, maybe as efficient, or you know what I mean, right? Like, I can't assume that they're going to do everything exactly how I wanted it and exactly to my standard. But as a business owner, I know I can't do it all. I can't do it alone. I need people on my team that I can count on. And I think this is actually a good thing to think about, because I think this is a lot, this is relevant in your personal lives as well, and your work lives, whether you're a business owner or an employee or whatever you are. You need to be able to count on others. You need to be able to work with people, and you also need to be able to let go. You need to be able to allow others to help bring you up. You need to allow others to help you complete tasks. And I mean, again, I feel like when it goes to like the home life, spouses, kids, we get like, again, I feel like husband and wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, right? You live with each other for a long time, or you get worked up about this or that. We have to be able to count on one another, and we have to, hold each other accountable. But again, it's a relationship, and we have to work on that. And so I think this all just goes hand in hand on balancing many things. Again, you've got your kids, you've got your kids' sporting events, you've got your own personal needs, you've got your own, spouse needs, right? You've got all of these things going on in your life. It's okay to let go a little bit. It's okay to not worry so much. And I think a lot of people could go further if they're willing to allow others help. I also feel like, I'm 27 years old. I feel like my parents' generation, that general age, when they were brought up, it was a lot of the men's ego, right? Was like to do everything yourself, to not ask for help, to be a man, right? Like to just do. I mean, as I've grown up and as I've built these businesses, I've come to learn it's very important to be able to count on people and ask for help when needed. And again, there's no point of being an expert at everything. An expert, again, it's like the man who chases two rabbits catches none. Being an expert at everything isn't really going to help us. I mean, you just can't be an expert at everything, right? So anyways, how do we balance everything? We rely on one another. We work as a team. We instill confidence. We make sure there's a shared belief or a shared vision. Again, if you've got kids, your kids need to know why they're doing something. They need to know the cause and effect relationship. If I do if I do this, then what, right? So, again, the cause and effect, whatever. So trust your people, trust your team, build around people you want to spend time with. Make sure you are with good people, good, loyal, respectful, honest, right? These are traits that obviously I look for. I need that in my company, in my personal life. I'm a very loyal friend. I'm not one of those guys that I have 10 best friends. I've got a handful of people that I can count on as far as like my closest friends, but I treat my team the same way. Anybody on my team, I genuinely have trust. I believe in them. I can count on them. And that's how we build our businesses, so just like we would build a friendship or a family, right? So I'm kind of mumbling, rambling, but I think that is an important thing to think about, right? Is as you're going through life, as you're trying to take on more, as you're trying to accomplish more, just some thoughts. Point number 2, when making a decision, and I've talked about this in the past as well, but this is important to talk about now, because we did the diner recently, right? We're on week 6 or whatever it is. Have you thought of all of the possible outcomes? Have you considered the worst possible scenario and the best possible scenario? Oftentimes, when something new comes about, the normal reaction is to think about the absolute best. Like, They call it the shiny ball syndrome. At least that's the newer, right? You see this shiny ball, right? This, oh my gosh, it's so new, it's so awesome, there's nothing that could go wrong, right? That's the attitude we get. I strongly suggest, again, that's an emotional thing. I talk about emotional versus logic. How do we make our decisions, right? Do we do it out of impulse? Do we do it, our impulse buy? Or do we need it? Do we want it? So balancing that emotion out. So if there's something new that comes about, I don't want you to make an impulse decision, an emotional decision. You need to take some time, grab a notebook, and write down, the outcomes. Write down what could happen, what couldn't happen. Think about, again, if this is a new job for you, have you had a job for 10 years and now you're going to a startup and you're wondering if this startup is worth risking your career? I'm obviously pro small business and pro startup, so I would always err on the side of supporting that. But of course, you need to have good, solid, evidence, details, like a good, solid plan of attack. So when making a decision, whether it's professionally or personally or, a new relationship, old relationship, whatever it is, right? Trying to get back with your ex of some sort. Let's think about what good and what bad can come of this. And you have to think of the worst, and you have to think the best of the best. But there's obviously a scale to this, right? And I can't really bring math into it, but you need almost a math equation of like, well, what are the odds it's going to be the best of the best, and what are the odds it's going to be the worst of the worst? And somewhere in between is probably where it's going to be, right? So just figuring out truly what are the possible outcomes of this specific scenario. And so the reason I bring this up is right with the restaurant, with the bar. I see the best in things. I see how good can we make it? How awesome can we make it? I'm not a very negative mindset person. I don't believe there's something that I couldn't tackle and figure out, especially with the team that I have around me. I do feel confident in the ability to tackle a lot of different options and things out there and, new businesses, right? So, when making a decision, just write down and take your time, sleep on it, right? Give yourself a week to let that sit, because after a week, a lot of that emotion is gone. A lot of that emotion will be gone. There will still be emotion there, but it's not going to be that like immediate emotion you get when you first read something, see something, right? So consider that with your possible outcomes. Okay. Number 3, working with close friends, family, and spouses. This is something I do in almost every business. I work with almost every best friend that I've had over the last 10 years. They work with me. I wouldn't want it any other way. I have a reason to talk to them every day. I have an excuse to talk to them every day. I have a reason to grab a beer with them in the afternoon, right? And we can talk business and we can talk life, and we're still there for each other. Now, is the relationship a little bit different? Yes, we talk a lot about business and how it could be. But to me, when you can, I get it, it's tough. You're 9 to 5. A lot of you might want to leave your 9 to 5 at work, and you want to come home with your spouse and you don't want to talk about it. That's I personally believe I love what I do. I have so much passion for it, and I think the people around me share that. And I know I shouldn't be calling my guys on a Saturday. They still want to do their own thing. They don't necessarily want to talk work and they don't necessarily want to talk work, and I get that. There's still time of space, but I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want, I love dealing with my people, my best friends, my family, my girlfriend, right? I like being able to, and I have a really tough time. Again, I'm talking about myself, but I have a tough off switch. I could talk about business and what's going on all times. I have I dream about this stuff, so it's different for me. I'm very, very passionate about what we do, the people we bring together, and the teams we create, and the services, and right. So anyways, my 2 cents when it comes to working with a significant other, family, friends, again, all possible outcomes. What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? I've talked about it in an earlier podcast. Kyle and I, my best friend growing up in high school, right? We worked together, and our friendship was on the line for several years, I would say. It was a rocky, it was an up and down thing. It was it was tough. But again, when you put a couple 18, 19, 20-year-olds together and you say, run a business and, figure it out, like it's, again, mental maturity's low, trying to figure out how to do this or how to do that, or, how to run payroll and how to make this and that, like it's tough. It's not easy. It's not traditional, but Kyle and I made it through, and Nolan's with me, and Gavino's with me, my brother's with me, right? My girlfriend's with me. And obviously I've created really good friends along the way with other people on my team as well. So when debating friends and family, you have to really understand what the worst possible outcome is here. It tears people apart. It tears friendships apart. You didn't realize how somebody really was. Sometimes, you don't really see who somebody is until you start putting them under the pressure. And, for me, I'm the boss, right? In quotations, I have to put my foot down. I have to help make decisions. I have to, tell people what's right and what's wrong. And so that is very tough on our friendships. But my friends have come to accept that I am not, as far as a leader goes, and this is a whole other thing. As far as the leader goes, you don't need to be a shitty leader. Like, you need to be a good leader, right? So you need to understand how to communicate and how to talk and how to be persuasive. And again, the human psychology. So if you're not a good leader, if you're not a good communicator and you're thinking about hiring your friend or your family member, you need to be ready to have that going as well, right? Like, you need to be, it's a very touchy, hard thing to understand, but to be a good leader, to be able to work with their friends and family, it really comes down to like that. And then also your friend or family member who's in work, you need to have a very understanding relationship of, hey, when we're at work, and we both need to realize that we love each other outside of this, right? Friends or family. We really do care about each other outside of this. We're not going to let this tear us apart. If our feelings are coming about, or we're starting to get on each other's nerves, like, maybe we just make a mutual decision saying this isn't the best for us, right? So I do strongly recommend working with friends and family. But again, you need to be a good leader. You need to be a good communicator. You need to be respectful and honest and transparent up front right away. And you both have to be willing to accept criticism and understand that it's not going to be perfect out the gate, but we're going to figure it out and we're going to work together to make this the best possible way, right? So going back, if I knew everything I knew now, and I did it again when I was 18, 19, 20, it would be much different. It would be much easier in a sense of I'd be a better communicator. I'd be a better leader. I'd be a better understander and listener. Like, I have years of experience now in those fields. The only thing that wouldn't be, any easier is, again, mental maturity. If I knew everything I knew now when I was as mentally mature as I was now, and Kyle was as mentally mature as he is now, right? Like, yes, it'd be much easier. We'd be like we are now. But just saying, there's a learning curve. There's things you have to understand. And I think transparency and honesty is probably two of the most important things as well. So consider that. But if you have an opportunity to work with friends and family, I say go for it, do it, figure it out. But be prepared for the worst. It could tear you apart. Could end up in a divorce. Could end up in a lost relationship. Could end up in a, no more friends, right? Like, you have to weigh that out. What's more important to you? So anyways, the last thing I have here, which I already kind of touched on, this was kind of my first point. I guess I left this part out. But always offering a good service or product is something very important to us. And again, this is kind of like the balance question. When you add something else on, how do you make sure that like everything else isn't falling by the wayside? And to be honest, we've done it all. We've added on gyms, or we've added on businesses, we've added on people, and then we forget about other people. We forget about other businesses, like, you know what I mean? And if you've been a long-term member and you're listening, there's a chance that we have screwed up in the past. But it always comes full circle, and we come back to realize like what we're missing, what we're hitting on. Because usually what happens is we take on another business that stretches our team a little bit more thin. Then we start working with the team and we kind of figure out where we're missing. And so it takes us some time. And again, I think this is something as we get older, as we get more experienced, 5-10 years from now, that process will become smoother and easier, and we'll be able to add on more and do more. But right now, like we buy the bar and restaurant. Now Ellie's a full-time project manager. Now Ellie's not in the gyms. Now Gavino's stepping up as the gym guy, like the sole gym guy. And so then there's maybe some reports that we're missing on. There's some, hey, have you communicated with this employee or that employee as much, right? Because Ellie maybe isn't doing it as much. So again, it all comes down to balance and it's tough. I wouldn't say there's any magic formula when it comes to balance and work-life balance and all of that. People want to say there's such thing as work-life balance, but in all honesty, the better your work life is going, the more your personal life is probably dragging behind potentially. And the more your personal life is doing better, you might not be as focused in work. I just think that's just how it goes. Like, don't get me wrong. I believe that my work-life balance is great. But, you know, my personal life is basically work. I don't know that I spend a whole lot of time on my personal life, right? Like I try to do my best to get my steps in and get my workout in, but I would definitely say it's not all what it's made out. It's not going to be perfect ever, right? Like there's times where you're really focused on your relationship and that's great. And maybe your work relationships aren't as good, right? So anyways, those are my three main topics of the day for you, my 3 main points. I hope you grabbed something from this. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy. But again, it's just being able to accept criticism, I think, is probably one of the most important things. Being able to understand and say, okay, and admitting fault and saying that's my bad. Again, it comes down to human psychology and persuasion and really what the human wants. You have to realize that every day it's just dealing with people. The world is dealing with people, and the better you're going to be at life is the better you can deal with people. I know some people are introverted. They don't want to deal with people. They don't want to talk to people. I get that. You don't have to be an extrovert, but understanding how to deal with people, how to deal with your emotions, how to, right? Like, is really what it comes down to. So I appreciate you guys. I believe Thursday's episode is going to be an awesome one. Kimber did her podcast with our Golden Grizzly ladies. So hopefully you guys can tune into Thursday's episode and listen to that and hear some amazing stories. And some ladies who have been with us for some time now, and they've seen some amazing results, and their lives have improved greatly from working with us at Grizzly. So I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon. I will work on getting my complete story put together here. I should have done it today with this beautiful weather. Should have just gone for an hour and a half long walk and just talked to you guys. But anyways, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. I will talk to you soon. Make it a great one. See you later.